Question.
Yes.
So 3 more properties, they say you're doing about $300K a year profit.
Do I turn in my 2 weeks?
Exactly.
If I see the numbers in the next 90 days from these first 3, yes, very, very likely.
Okay. So I don't remember the seasonality of your area, but I think you might have to wait until summer.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah, I think you might have to wait until summer because you make, for most places in the country, you make 70% of your profit over 4 months, which is June, July, August, September.
Got you.
So we are already in September.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So like in your area, because there's so many local events and they primarily happen during the summer.
Yes.
Every week.
Yep.
So yeah, by next year, you're going to be living large.
I love it. I have to expand my horizons. I'm like, where do I want to travel to next? That's another thing. I'll probably purchase another property. And this one, I'll probably go in as an investment. Buying my first house was such an accomplishment of its own. But
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. But now it's kind of like, what's next after that, right? Because you kind of have to compromise, sacrifice a couple things for your first house,
Yeah. So your next property, you say it's an investment property.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's what I recommend. If you want to buy an investment property,
Yep.
you buy it as a second home, not an investment property.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
So if you buy an investment property, you're going to have to pay 20% down.
Yes.
As a second home, you pay 10% down.
Oh, okay.
Okay? So,
are you guys paying attention? Because this is good stuff.
Okay, so you can literally buy unlimited second homes.
Okay.
The only caveat is it has to be 50 miles away from each other.
Okay.
And 50 miles away from your primary residence.
From your primary. Okay, perfect.
And every second home.
Oh, okay.
So that is the only requirement, and you can buy 10 second homes a year if you want.
Wow, okay.
Okay, so or whatever you can afford.
50 miles, okay.
Okay, so just keep that in mind. So if you and you have to qualify for the loan,
for
obviously.
sure, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yep.
So, yeah, there's many ways of setting it up so that you look really good on paper to qualify for the loan.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to help you with that process.
Yes, absolutely, because you learn something new every day.
So besides that, if you do quit your job.
Yes.
Okay.
Or when.
Or when you do quit your job, it may be harder for you to qualify for those loans, just so you know.
Yep. Yeah. Only because of the statements and,
exactly.
The security of that.
Because you're going from W-2 to self-employed, which is underwritten completely different.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, but even if you do that, there's other programs I can show you. Specifically, one that you can get is called DSCR. Are you familiar with these?
Just a little bit. I know there's like nuances and little details of it, but I have looked into it before.
Super simple. I'll break it down to you. As long as the rent from the house is enough to cover the mortgage, then you qualify for the loan.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Okay. But for DSCR, 20% down minimum.
20%. Got you. Okay.
Minimum. So, before you quit your job, I would say buy your second home first.
Okay.
Okay. Utilize that 10% down.
10%, 50 miles from where I'm at.
Exactly. Or up like at least 50 miles away.
50 miles away. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So, I would say buy one where you're starting your Airbnbs at now. So you would, come in with another, I would say like for a good property out there, maybe like $75K.
Yeah.
And you can buy another property.
Oh, perfect. I'll just use the profits from one of them and then
exactly
use that.
So if you think about this, if you have 6 units, it's $300K a year.
Yeah.
You can already buy 2 properties every year from the 6 arbitrage that you did.
Yeah. Wow.
Right?
Yep.
So like you go from owning 1 home to 2 home to 6 homes
to 6, yeah.
to 10 homes in the next 4 years.
Yeah. That's insane.
It's pretty insane.
Yeah. I'll be hiring soon.
Like tomorrow.
Yes.
What would you say? What would you say for newcomers looking to getting into this industry? What should they consider before even starting?
Okay, the first thing I want to say is if no one's told you thus far, credit is very important. So
Okay.
I think that's the thing. I think the miss in, like just the educational system is we don't talk about finances a lot. And I will say I've been blessed and I'm thankful to be able to do what I need to do with the resources that I have, right? It does make it a little bit more challenging if you either don't have funds and or don't have good credit. I mean, just even at the bare minimum of renting a property, right? Like some people need co-signers and things like that. Not to say it's impossible to do. It just makes it a little bit more challenging. So pay attention to your credit. Pay attention to your spending and finances. I also do think that for someone who is interested in getting into it, I think identifying those goals or what you want, because I think the possibilities are endless. So at first, and I think actually if you chatted with the first coach that I spoke with, my first goal initially was, oh, I don't really want to do this full time. I don't plan on quitting my job. I just want one property. Really just want one property.
The first coach being someone else's program or my program?
No, sorry, your program.
My
Before
program.
you and I spoke.
Okay,
Yep.
is that
Fabian.
Fabian. Oh,
Yes.
Fabian. You spoke with Fabian. Wow, okay.
Yep. So I literally said, you know what? I don't even want to do this really. I just want one property and I just want to add supplemental, right?
How did you go from that to this? What happened? How did you go from one property to signing 3
No,
in 1 month?
I was like, I could really make a lot of money.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, and I think that once you start to see it happen, you're like, oh yeah, that's not enough, And I just think that in anything that I do in life, I do it large. Everything's like XL for me. Like one is just not enough, right? And so yeah, but initially I was like, I'm not gonna be greedy. I just want one property. Double my income was really the goal, right? And he was like, oh, that's easy. Like, you could do it with one. And I'm like, okay. And then I was just like, but I don't want just that.
Right.
I want more. And so, yeah.
I totally get what you're saying, because when I first started too, I was like, okay, I signed one property. I'm making $5,000 a month profit.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. Yeah, I think this should be good. But I was like, wait a minute. It wasn't that hard starting one. It wasn't that hard.
Exactly. And it's really just like, and I think there does come to a point where I do want to say, like, I've done everything, right? Like I've, traveled this, or like I've been on these vacations. I've seen the world. I've helped my family. I've retired my parents, or all these checkmark things. And then I'm like, I'm okay. Like, I don't need to continually always hustle the same. But right now, while I still have it, I might as well do it to maximize
I think you'll
my
always
potential.
have it.
Yeah, I think it's in you. It's not, it's just in you.
You give me that feeling. You're always going to have it.
Yeah.
Okay. Amazing. So besides Airbnb, if you never figured out Airbnb, did you think about any other alternate routes that you would have taken to
Oh gosh.
quit your 9 to 5?
Quit my 9 to 5. Okay, so this is actually kind of fun. So I do have an up and coming business. This is more of a passion project of mine. And I do think that one thing that's special about like the Vietnamese community, or even, people of color, is they typically stick together, right? And I think that there's not enough resources for us. Number one, we always get like the short end of the stick. And so I am now starting to develop an online marketplace that allows for consumers and businesses to discover people who are like us for their trade, right? So let's say you need to look for a barber, or you need to find a nail tech. This is kind of that space for everyone. And so it's kind of like your modern day, like think of Yelp or OpenTable, Resi, but on a different scale for people who look like us and who are us. And so I initially was like, okay, maybe I can build this app. I can get venture capital involved, right? And that was going to be my way out of my 9 to 5. But an app is very expensive.
Super expensive.
Yes. Very, very, very expensive. And I think that feeds more of like what my heart and soul speaks to, and may not even get me the monetary value. And so I think that was the other piece, is like, I still get to do what I love, but this is where like the dollar signs are going to come in.
Okay, perfect. So I get your plan. Start a bunch of Airbnbs, have the money come in, start your app to fulfill the Vietnamese community, where they can find all their nail techs, barbers, their lash person.
Yes, exactly.
Got it. That is an ambitious goal. I love it. Definitely. I would use that service.
That's what I'm saying. Yes.
I would definitely use that service. So, well, cool. Okay. So tell me a story. Okay.
Yeah.
So in this entire last month, you said you're not a quitter, and regulations was the most difficult thing for you. Besides that, what else was challenging, and how did you overcome it?
So finding so someone who doesn't travel in the States often, I was like, I don't even know where to look, right? You start to look at like what's near you. Where do you like to go? Maybe what are the popular cities or locations you think about? But I realized I was going about it all wrong. And so that was the most frustrating piece at first, because I'm like, why can't I find anything near me, right? Or why can't I find anything near, this place that I go to or where I like? But I would have never in a million years, I've never been to the market that I ended up signing with. I never even thought I would consider that a place. Was pleasantly surprised, good food, there's always something going on. But I think it was just, trying to see what works. And there's more than just my market that I found. There's so many. And I think it's just that I remember the very, very first day, it was the homework of like, find locations.
Yep.
And I looked, and everything on that stupid calculator, it was stupid at one point, now it's like game changing, was red. I was like, nothing I'm finding makes sense. Like everything is just red. Like, I'm not going to make any money. Like I started to have doubts in like, how
Okay, so you did have doubts. Okay, this is what I want to know. Okay.
Yes, but I think it's like, if there's a will, there's a way. And it's like, even if there are, just like in anything, there's going to be a ton of no's before you get that first yes, right? Or you're going to experience all these hurdles before you get to a specific place. But I think it's the continually going and pushing is what got me to where I am. Because I'll tell you, the first night, I think I spent 6 hours and I got barely like 5. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is not it. I can't afford to do 6 hours after a 9 to 5.
Were you going to ask for a refund after that?
No. I would have been like, I'm like, okay, actually, you know what? This isn't it. No. Because I do think that it was very clear that it was, you do the process, this is what's going to happen.
Yep. Okay. So you spent 6 hours, and for those of you who are watching, what Dee is specifically saying is I built out this program. It's a calculator. You plug in the nightly rate, and you plug in how often people stay based off of what we find off of a software called AirDNA of how often people stay in a property. So what the percentage is that the property is actually going to be booked. And you plug in the cost of what it would cost for you to rent a property that's similar to the one that you're trying to copy or emulate, and it'll do its math. If it makes a certain amount, it'll be green. Green means go.
Yes.
If it doesn't make enough, it'll be yellow, and that's like ask your coach. And if it absolutely is not profitable, it'll be red. So she spent 6 hours doing it and got all reds. I would have been frustrated.
I was like, I don't know if I could do this.
What changed? Like what got you from all red to just being all green? Because you did it really quickly. It was like 1 week. It was a shift, like bam.
It's crazy because I felt like I was moving at the speed of a turtle. Like I literally was just like, I spent so many hours and hours and hours, but I think it was like, there has to be a way. There has to be a way. And it was just, I got faster every time. Then I was able to find like a mixture, right? Got some reds, some greens.
I remember that.
Then I realized, oh shoot, all these places are getting booked up anyway because I didn't start calling. And so then I was like, okay, well, I got to do it again. And then I realized the more that I did it, the quicker that I got to even identify certain things and better understand how to do my research. Just like anything in school or in class or when you do something over and over again, you can spend, like, for example, even my job, right? Like I could do this in my sleep, my 9 to 5, and I can do it really well because I spent the last 15 years doing it. Now, if I were to just start, it would probably take me just as long. So same thing, when you're starting out to learn a new trade or a new skill, it's going to take that time. And so that was it. And then also what was really motivating is after your second class, you were like, okay, by the end of this weekend, you need to get this. And I was like, yep, okay.
Oh yeah, we made a bet.
Yes,
we made a bet.
we did. I think I still owe you $100.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. The whole class owes me $100.
Yeah, because
Oh, except for Armando.
Yeah.
I owe them. So I owe them $400 or 500. Was it 4-1?
I think it was 4-1 at that time.
It was 4-1, right? So I made a bet for my students. Like, if you guys get a property this weekend, I give you $400. If you lose, you give me $100. So I think 4 people lost and 1 person won. So I'll take all that money and just give it to Armando.
Yes.
So cool. Okay. So now that you signed your first lease, what is next for you? What's the next step that you're going to take?
You got to buy property. I mean, you got to buy property. You got to buy furniture. No, I think, I want to make sure that I do these right, and make sure that these places are, they look well, they're presented well, and that people want to stay here. I think there's also a piece in which you can't just open this business or get into it and leave it be. There's so much maintenance and there's so much relationship building too, because now you are a host, truly,
Exactly.
for all of these people who are visiting and stuff. And I recall, like, when I go, whether it's to a hotel or even to another Airbnb or even to a friend's house, I want that same hospitality, right? So this isn't just okay, the work is done. I think it's the continuous maintenance of, making sure that these are, very, very top tier, like, excellent experiences. So that's from the Airbnb side. Next piece is find more properties to make more money.
Okay, amazing. Okay, so for furniture, are you an interior designer?
I am.
Are you? Okay.
Yes, I am. I just designed my home, or like the inside of my home. So everything's completely furnished. With the delays in shipping, it definitely took a couple of times. But I do have a very distinct, like, I do like the modern look.
Modern look. Okay.
Modern is the way for me to go usually. I like a chic aspect as well. Love neutral colors.
Okay. So gray tones.
More black, white, and woods.
Black. Okay.
Yep.
So like almost wabi sabi.
Yes.
Okay.
And then usually, like, my pop of color or like the character is either like plants, or some sort of like textures and tones within the space. So right now I have a really, really beautiful, like, 9-foot olive tree.
Nice. Nice.
It's fake though.
It's easier that way.
Yes, exactly.
You don't have to water it.
Exactly. Doesn't need sun.
So for these specific so you signed 3 properties. When do all the leases start?
October 1st.
All of them.
October 1st and October 15th.
So how many start on the 1st?
2.
So you got to design them now. Did you
now
design them yet, or?
Nope. Working on that as of last night.
Okay, so today's what, the 6th?
7th, I think.
7th.
Yes.
Okay, today's the 7th. Okay, how far along on that process have you gone?
Just started because I wanted to make sure everything had been finalized with the paperwork as of this week. So I wanted to make sure that was in first, and then I had to get the floor plans just to make sure the size that I was working with, because when I bought my house, my bed frame didn't fit, and I was, like, devastated.
Gotcha.
So I definitely don't want to be buying stuff that wouldn't fit in the space. So I was waiting for all of that first, and then now the fun begins.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Amazing. So if I were to share with you, the key to furnishing is to go as cheap as possible.
Okay.
But still having that upscale feel.
Yep.
So definitely, like, when I furnish, I always keep several things in mind. Is this beer budget champagne taste? And can I have everything delivered in 5 days?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
So if it takes longer than 5 days to be delivered, that's not a piece of item that you can get.
Don't do it. Okay.
Okay. So for larger pieces such as dining tables, sofas, and bed frames, if the specific look that you're looking for is going to take a week, that is as much as I would compromise.
Okay.
No more than 7 days delivered.
Okay. That's good to know. Yeah. Everything in my place right now, like the one that I own.
Like 2 months, right?
Yes. Because it was like CB2, RH, Crate and Barrel, like the whole thing. And it just took forever. But then especially with the turnover and things like that, like I wouldn't go that route. But it's good to know that I have like a 5-day window is kind of like, that sweet spot.
So The easiest place to shop for all that, Amazon, Target, Wayfair.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Okay, so for all those items, that's where I would source everything.
Okay.
And then if you were to go local, okay, I would go to Living Spaces.
Oh yes. Okay.
Okay,
I
so
think they have one out there. They should.
yeah, they definitely should.
Yeah.
So, and this is just for the larger pieces. All the accessories, everything could be delivered in like 2 days.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So for all your larger pieces, this is what you should plan for. Everything else could be winged.
Okay.
Okay, so your goal tonight is
Already giving me homework.
yeah. So your goal tonight: nightstands,
'Kay.
coffee table, end tables, bed frames, mattress, sofa,
Okay.
and that's it. Everything else you can take your time, but those need to be ordered like tonight.
Tonight. Okay.
For both properties.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay. Now, as far as receiving the furniture, you have a game plan?
I was going to do a local delivery setup at like the UPS.
Okay.
So I can set that up. They did, unless I don't think I'm gonna go out there once.
Let me ask you
again.
this.
Yeah.
How good is your relationship with your landlord?
Oh, it's great.
Can they receive it for you?
They probably will. Yeah, I can just hit them up today and be like, hey,
Yeah.
I have some things coming in, and the house is already vacant. So all they gotta do is just put the items in there.
So yeah, if they're willing to do that, that's great. They're probably not willing to do that.
To move it in there.
Yeah, to move it in
Yeah.
there. But if they're willing to give you early access, what I would do is just have your cleaner push it in.
Oh, got you. Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that'll so I would also source a cleaner after I buy everything,
Okay.
and then have the cleaner push everything in.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay, so that you can bypass the whole UPS thing.
Yep. Yes.
Okay,
I
so
know.
and then for the little boxes and all that, that's when UPS is more helpful.
Oh, okay. Yeah, for
But
like
the-
smaller things
yeah.
to accept. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So
All right.
So then you'll be rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
Do you have any inspiration to go off of at the moment, or?
Not yet, only what I like, but I have to remember that I'm not going to be the one staying there,
exactly.
right? So I want to kind of make it homey to the market and also the city, and kind of bring in some like local touches, I think. But I do think that like a minimalistic style is really, really good, but I do need some inspo still. I'm
Okay.
just going on Pinterest for days.
Here, I'll help you. So look at your comps again. Look
Yep.
at all the top performers and see what they all have in common.
Oh, right. Okay.
Okay, so I would start there.
Yep.
And then secondly, you can plug into Midjourney.
Yeah.
I'll show you how to do that today because you were kind of struggling with it last night.
Yeah. I was just like, I don't know what's happening. Yes.
So we'll do that. We'll do that right after this.
Okay. Beautiful.
Yeah, I want to give you like, a living room inspo and a bedroom inspo.
Okay.
And kitchen, I think it's pretty easy. You just put stuff out.
Yeah. And what's nice is one of the properties has an island bar already, so I don't need to get like a full dining. I'll just get bar stools.
Cool.
Yeah.
Even better. Even better. Cool. What words of wisdom do you have to share with anybody looking to start this?
Keep going. I think is really the big thing. I've in what I would consider myself, like I'm a rookie at this, like even though I may be above the curve or above average right now, I have a few of your students actually reaching out to me, and I'm like, I'm no expert, but the thing that has separated us is they may be encountering the same roadblocks that I did, but you can't give up.
Exactly.
I think that just like anything, if you want it, you will make it happen. And it's a science. Like the formulas and everything that you've taught us thus far, it works. And I'm not saying that just because, I can, but it's really because you do the work and this is the output. And it may take someone 10 hours that it took me 6. It might take someone 3 hours, like I've seen some people work twice as faster than I have. And then sometimes that's only motivation for me, right? Because I'm like, well, if they can do it in 3 hours, I should be able to do it in 3 hours.
Exactly.
And if you can do it in an hour, I can do it in an hour.
The truth is, when I first started, okay, so you said it took you 8 hours to produce 5 properties.
Yes.
When I first started, it took me like 5 days to produce 5 properties.
Really?
I swear to God. Yeah, because I didn't really have anybody just telling me. I had to piece it out.
Yeah.
And even I pieced it out, I still didn't really understand it. I didn't have time to simplify it and make it repeatable. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't until a year of just using so many tools together did I say, okay, this has to happen first in this way, and then that has to happen next to be efficient. And once I figured that out, then it was like fast.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so it took me a long time.
Yeah.
Long time.
We are grateful to at least have a process in place, because if I would have started this completely on my own, it would have been completely different. I think
hard.
about, like, I'll share with you too, like a couple months ago, actually, there was a property that was a friend of a friend's, right? And they had reached out and said, hey, you know, like, did you want to rent this place? And I was like, oh, you know, maybe I'll go in and do an Airbnb. But all the things, just the minor stuff, didn't know the rules and regulations of that space. So I might have even gotten myself into a situation.
Is it a place that's regulated?
Yes,
Yeah,
it is.
okay.
You know what I mean? So I would have been like, oh, shoot, didn't know that. Also, didn't know what the area was going to even make. So would I have broken even? Would I be in the red? Like, and then all the other stuff of just making sure, like, it's the little details of like making sure your listing is right, the photography, like all these things.
It's a lot.
You don't know that going into it just, you know, normal. Like, I feel like most people just do it because they're like, oh, it's another source of income, but there's so much.
There is. So, okay. So now let's picture this. We're going to fast forward 2 weeks ahead of time.
Okay.
It is now 1 week before October 1st. You're completely furnished already.
Yeah.
How are you so confident that these properties will make money? Did I show you something that gives you an advantage over other people?
Yeah, you showed us a lot of things. These are trade secrets, you know? And I'm not going to share them because those things, I'm taking that with me to the grave, okay? They're all in here. But I will say, I think there are various ways. Even if I did only one of the several things, it would still put me ahead of the curve. I think it's paying attention to the trends of what's going to happen with these properties, and then also doing what I know I can do to make sure that I'm getting booked. Because you got to make sure you get booked.
So what Dee's trying to say is Airbnb is not fair.
Yeah.
If you understand how to really play the game, your listings will show up before your competitors.
Yes.
And it's the people that understand how to give the system what it wants are the ones that are going to be most successful. And that's why I'm continuously expanding in this field, because I understand what the system wants and we just give it to it.
I think about just like, remember when Instagram first started and it was all about like, oh, we were sharing our cup of coffee in the morning and all these photos. And then it became a platform for all of these influencers and talent and celebrities to either, you know, start working with brands. And then what happened was the algorithm changed. And the people who maintained and kept up with the change that Instagram was doing are still the ones that are getting, you know, deals today. They're getting, you know, still getting brands to reach out to them, all these things. But if you don't know how that has changed and Instagram has changed, you're probably still sitting there wondering why people aren't getting your content. Same thing with Airbnb.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. Well, cool. Any final words?
If you haven't already invested in Cheese program, you need to do it now.
That's
Don't
huge.
walk, run.
I love it. I am passionate about what I do, and I love seeing my students be successful. Like that is my number one goal. When I set out to start this university, my number one goal is I want to see other people super successful in this field.
Yeah. And I think that's what also separates you and a lot of individuals. Very similar. I see a lot of that similarity in us as well, is that we don't do it for us. We do it for others. And I think that is where you'll never get a shortage of abundance, is when you give without expecting to receive, and when you give your wealth of knowledge because you want to see other people win and also be successful. That's when it comes back tenfold. Everything is like an ecosystem. So it'll come back to you in various ways, and you don't even have to think twice about it.
Yeah, you know what? I can attest to that. It's 100% true. I've made so many good friends, you know, out of starting this university. Like, I'm a workaholic. I don't really go out and drink. So this is how I make my friends too. So it's, I've already gotten way more than I would have if I've never started this. So super happy.
Yeah. And I don't think you can put a price tag on relationships and connections and what you build with these people. And also, like, you are unlocking financial freedom to so many different people. This is life changing for so many where they didn't have certain resources before, you know? Like I think there's certain communities and or certain moments where we gatekeep information because we don't want someone to surpass us, right? Or like we want to hold the information because we thought that we worked really, really, really hard for it and we don't want to share it.
That was me in late 2018.
Yeah, we've
Yeah,
all been there.
Yeah.
Where we're like, the knowledge that I learned, like I had to go through the mud for this, right? I had to crash and burn to know what I know.
That's exactly it.
And then you get to a space where you're just like, I can share it.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at now. So
Yeah.
and I love seeing, you know, people just breaking new records all the time. So right now, I would say that 3 in 3 weeks, you know, 3 properties in 3 weeks, you definitely hold the record.